You can't have it both ways. You shouldn't have it both ways. It can't be that Donald Trump shouldn't have been prosecuted for the way he handled paying off women in his life, but then say, oh, but Hunter Biden should definitely be being prosecuted. That's bullshit. And that's what's happening right now with this Hunter Biden trial. Literally days after you guys were all in high dudgeon, Trump should have never been prosecuted for this. Not this way, not to this degree. 34 felonies. May face jail time. I don't think so. But, and guess what? You were right. You were right. Now the left is looking at me. What? What's wrong with you, Cuomo? Listen, he did it. He did it. He paid off the women. Not a crime. He did it. He lied about paying off the women. Not a crime, unless under oath. That's why he wouldn't testify. He did it. He booked the transactions in a funky way, maybe because he was worried about this getting out because it would hurt his campaign. Let me tell you, that's a misdemeanor at best, the way it was done here. Not a felony. What? Michael Cohen was felony? Hey, that's on Michael Cohen. They came after him hard and heavy, and that's the deal he made, and he went away for it. Oh, so then why shouldn't Trump? I mean, I don't know why you really should be arguing that Michael Cohen shouldn't have gone away. Not that Trump should too. That's like two wrongs enforcing a wrong. But I don't get the rationale. It shouldn't have been prosecuted that way. What he did, he did. Was it wrong or right? Oh, that's for you to decide. John Edwards, many years ago, running for president, did the same thing to cover up an affair he was having during his election while his wife was sick with cancer. Bad PR. The FEC went after him, indicted him as a result. The jury deadlocked. I think they found him innocent on one and deadlocked on the others. That was John Edwards. Here, the FEC did not think it was worthy of moving forward. That's not true. The feds wanted to do it and Bill Barr wouldn't let them. Okay, two things can be true at once. They didn't think it was the biggest priority, and the guys who did got shut down by Bill Barr. Oh, wait, I thought the deep state was all weaponized by Biden. Yeah, it's because you're listening to bullshit. That's why. Lawfare works both ways, and that's my point. Welcome to the Chris Cuomo Project. I'm Chris Cuomo. Did you know that only 3 out of 10 of you subscribe to the channel? It's free. You're liking the content. I'm going to be addressing more and more provocative and pressing issues as we're getting into this campaign season. Sign up so you'll get the heads up of when they're coming. It costs you nothing. So, it would also cost the right nothing, and they would gain everything by standing on principle and saying that this prosecution of Hunter Biden is bullshit, because it is. Find me another case of them coming after and taking to trial a defendant for lying on an ATF handgun permit form. Oh, stupid Cuomo, you should have done your research, Chris. They bring hundreds of cases like this a year. Really? Where the person didn't then commit a crime with the weapon? Oh, well, let me look. Oh, no, that changes the number. Really? In a situation where the person didn't go on to commit a crime with the weapon and the crime of falsehood on the form was them saying they weren't a drug user? You're not going to find any. Why? Because that's not the policy. That doesn't happen. They're not worried about people getting weapons because they're using drugs. They should. But the Second Amendment folks would say, hey, that's an absolute right. You don't get to not have a gun just because you use drugs. I know it's crazy to say it that way, but legally, that's a sufficient argument. You don't get to decide who gets a weapon. Now those purists who just happen to all love Trump are not fighting for Hunter Biden on that basis. Now the same people who were saying that Donald Trump shouldn't have been prosecuted. This case is unusual. If it weren't for his name, if it weren't for who he is, this would never be here. They're not saying that about Hunter Biden. And we all know the only reason Hunter Biden is on trial right now and your money is being used to prosecute him is because he's the president's son. How is that okay? And look, we see this double standard. And it is what is dragging us down because it is playing to advantage. It's playing to hive think. It's playing to the party game. And this is why I hate the game. There are people out there, not most of you, but some, who are ardent anti-vaxxers who believe that everything that happened during the pandemic was wrong, 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 and it made everything worse. And you know what? The United States did do worse, but not because of its measures, but because it didn't take the measures far enough, especially vaccination. Have you Googled where America rates in terms of death from COVID and how deep down, like we're barely in the top 50 countries? We're at the bottom of wealthy countries. Now, part of this is because we're not healthy as a population, because we're a bunch of fat, sugar-addicted shit faces. But another reason is that we did not get vaccinated the way that we needed to. And you will find multiple reports of suggestions through data that Republicans died disproportionately in areas because they were unvaccinated. And that is fucked up. That's not about safety. That's about pushing fear for political advantage. So you have these people who are anti-vax, who believe that everything that happened during the pandemic was wrong and cost us billions and took all our liberties and we'll never get them back, that Fauci should go to jail, and that media people like me need to apologize. And yet the man who brought you the vaccine, who did the lockdowns, who celebrates having done the right thing with both, gets your vote. Donald Trump. Donald Trump brought you the vaccine. Donald Trump made it happen faster than it had ever happened before, which meant doing things in a way that maybe, according to how you say you feel, made it less safe, made it more of an unknown. That's what you say. It's not what I say. He did that. You don't blame him. Oh, yeah, but the lockdowns and the mandates, yeah, he started that. He brags about it. And you love him. How? How can Tony Fauci have to go to jail on his way to hell? How can all the media have to apologize? How can the government be to blame but not Trump? Don't you see that you're trying to have it both ways, and that makes you know better than who and what you oppose? I mean, Trump shouldn't have been prosecuted because this is obviously using the system against him. But Hunter Biden should, even though it's the exact same fucking thing. Why would I take you seriously? Why do you deserve respect? Why should your outrage be respected when you are inconsistent? You are not about principle. You are about grievance and advantage. And you have a good point. Trump shouldn't have been prosecuted. I know he did it. Again, there is prosecutorial discretion. I'm talking to like the fringe on both sides at once. I know I'm like talking to two different flavors of angry at one time. So when I'm saying you, it could be either of them. But you know what the weird thing is? It's like three-dimensional, four-dimensional chess. I'm really speaking to the independents, to the critical thinkers, to understand the crazy around them. That's who I'm talking to. The you is the free agent, the independent, the critical thinker, the person who doesn't want to be co-opted by a party so they don't have to start talking his shit that doesn't make any sense. Biden is the choice. Trump is unfit for office because of his character. But you're okay picking a guy that we don't know is going to make it through the term. And the backup is someone that nobody wanted. What were you thinking? Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes in part from AG1. All right, look, we all know that I try to take care of my health. All right? Diet has gaps. Certainly mine does. That's why I start my day with AG1. Okay? It makes sure that I'm getting everything I need. Whole body health. Starting the day, one and done. Scooping some warm water, and I'm good. AG1 is foundational nutrition. That's the kind of supplement you need. Gives you what you need for your gut, for your blood, for your brain. And here's how we know. They do the research, the entire formula. Everything's put together through science, the right ratios, and in a way that they know it will get maximal absorption. So I don't have to have a lot of bottles and when do I take each of these things and what do I take with what? AG1 does the thinking for you. Try right now, and AG1 is going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. drinkag1.com/CCP for the Chris Cuomo Project. drinkag1.com/CCP. Tell them we sent you. Trump shouldn't have been prosecuted. There's prosecutorial discretion. This was a misdemeanor at best. They made it into 34 felonies by chopping the one single act of paying this guy back into 34 pieces. It's bullshit. It's obvious. And it was done by a district attorney that can't find felonies that he doesn't like to bump down to misdemeanors. He did it about 70% of the time. If you talk about what he didn't prosecute and what he mitigated. But this one, he has to bump up the felonies. Why? Well, he told you he campaigned on it to get Trump. That's a bullshit move. And for the Democrats to be quiet about it and to celebrate it is wrong. And now it happens to Hunter Biden, and now you guys suck just as bad. Now, neither of you will agree with me, but I do want you reasonable people in the middle to see all the crazy around you and to realize why you got to stay out of the parties and why you have to make your own fate and why you have to get much, much more involved in this process, because these two groups are eating your lunch. And COVID is another great example. You tell me how Trump gets a pass and I need to apologize. Oh, because you made fun of Joe Rogan for taking ivermectin. First of all, I wasn't targeting Rogan. You're going to have a hard time finding me even saying the guy's name during that time. What I was worried about is what I was told by multiple sources, that people were making a run on veterinary grade medicine because they couldn't get the human grade, and they thought that if they had it and took it, it would cure COVID, and they didn't even have to worry about getting COVID, so they didn't have to worry about the vaccine. That's what I was going after. That was stupid. The research is not there for anything like that, and ivermectin is studied more than any other drug in this world of COVID stuff that we're talking about. Oh yeah, but you're taking it because I'm taking a risk based on a new batch of research about long COVID. Now, I get that you don't like the distinction. Oh, it's double speak. No, it's the truth. You just don't like it because it's inconvenient to what you want, which is for me to have changed my position on ivermectin, so I should apologize. I would not take ivermectin until I see research that shows the preponderance of science in the area is that this is going to work on me. I don't think it's going to hurt you, but it is not a substitute. And that hasn't changed. It'd be great if it did. I'd love to have more stuff to throw at this thing. I hope it works for me with long COVID. I'd love to talk about it as part of a solution. There is research that's suggestive of that. Is it dispositive? Absolutely not. But it's my life. It's my risk. Oh, well, when I wanted to say that, you shamed me. Yeah, with the vaccine. Why do you think our death rate is so high? Why do you think it took us so long to get through it? Well, but I didn't trust the vaccine. Yeah, I know, but you're not a scientist. You know, you have all the kids, we have all our kids vaccinated with things. You've been vaccinated, you take things. Now you need to be a scientist and prove everything. You stick stuff in your face, you drink and eat shit all the time. You have no idea what it is, and it happens to be poison. That's why you're fat. That's why you have diabetes and you're pre-diabetic. But now all of a sudden you got a standard. And it had nothing to do with the politics. Come on. Come on. And I don't beat you up for it the way you guys suggest because I was worried for you. I'm worried about you. I didn't think you were less than. I was worried about you getting less protection and being sick. I'm not Don. It wasn't a mockery for me. It wasn't an us-them for me. I don't think that way. Otherwise, I wouldn't come and talk to you. And you know what happened when Donald Trump got sick? You know how he got better so fast, right? When he went into the hospital, it was reported from multiple sources, and I've talked to his own people, and they told me it was true. He said, give me what works. I don't want the other stuff. The other stuff is the ivermectin and the hydroxychloroquine and the other bullshit that was out there. Now, I don't believe that ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine are bullshit, by the way. I think they have applications. I think the research shows us that. But they just shouldn't have been seen as substitutes. That's the point. They should not have been seen as substitutes. Vaccine or this. COVID's a problem or not if you have this. That was a false choice. He got monoclonal antibodies. He didn't take this stuff. So Fauci's got to go to jail and go to hell. I've got to apologize for telling you that ivermectin wasn't a super pill and that you not taking the vaccine was a problem. But the man who brought you the vaccine, who allowed them to expedite the process, who did the lockdowns that you say were totalitarianism, he gets your vote. You tell me that that's consistent. Explain it to me. He shouldn't have been prosecuted. It's a misdemeanor at best. They should have let it go given who he is and what's going on in our society. But Hunter Biden's okay. Hunter Biden did it. Trump did it. Hunter Biden lied on a form. Yeah, about being an addict. And that's another thing. Stop demonizing addiction. Stop making addiction a character flaw. How do you forgive Trump all his obvious character flaws, but then hold Hunter Biden to be a bad person of no character because he's sick? Don't you have addicts in your life? Don't you know enough by now that once you're in the grip of this illness, you're not a normal person anymore? You're not calling the shots. You keep showing pictures of him with his blunts and naked and the women. That's what junkies do. They hurt themselves. They work to excess on vice. That's what they do. Pathetic, miserable things. No, he's just a bad guy. Now it's a character judgment. That's where we are. I thought we had evolved on addiction. I thought you guys were understanding. But no, it's that you want it both ways. If you had an addict in your life, hey, don't you judge my brother, sister, mother, father, kid, whatever it is. She's sick. Fuck you. Yeah, but when it works to your politics, you savage Hunter Biden. You wouldn't savage if it was Ivanka. Oh, she's sick. Let's help her. I hope she gets treatment. You shouldn't talk about her that way. It's all advantage. It's just having it both ways. And that's bullshit. And the only reason you do it is because you're stuck in this stupid party game. And now you're in a game within a game. You're in the fringe silo game within a party. It's like a double doo-doo. That's where we are. Either you allow your opponents to be prosecuted for advantage or you don't. What do you want? Either you're consistent and you want accountability and you want to know what happened during the pandemic that was right and wrong, and you want the follow-up of what's going on with long COVID. Is the vaccine safe? Are people being injured? If so, is there a way to deal with it? That should be the priority. None of that is in those Fauci hearings. We've got to get back to reasonable. We've got to get past the left and right and get back to reasonable. And I'm telling you, these parties are feeding us this shit. And the same people who were pissed off last week are fine with it this week. Don't let them do this to you and to your society. And my brothers and sisters out there who are independents, who are critical thinkers, you see all this too. Talk to people. Take charge of this system. Get the fuck away from the parties. We can do better. We have to do better. I appreciate you subscribing or following. It doesn't make sense that only 30% of you subscribe to the channel. It's free, okay? Now, the Substack is not free. It's $5 a month. I mean, really? $5 a month. I know times are tough for some people, but $5 a month is nothing, especially when you know I'm using the money to help people get treatment who can't afford it. You get the podcast ad-free. You get all of what's going on with me with long COVID and my doctor, who's an expert in the field, Robin Rose, double certification. Look her up, Terrain Health. And I have exclusive content on there on what I'm doing for my wellness, and I'll be interacting with you, all for $5 a month. There should be at least 100,000 of you subscribed there. There's like 1,000. It's a great value. People are getting sick and you need to know more. And this is a great place to find it out where I'm not selling you anything. So thank you for being with me. You tell me, you don't believe that we're seeing people trying to have it both ways just for political advantage? Let me know. Let's get after it. I'll see you on News Nation, 8p and 11p. Thank you for subscribing, following, commenting. I'm here for it. Are you? Again, we have real problems. The way to deal with them is to confront them and to have conversation about them. Let's get after it.